we've all seen the footage of hundreds of baby little turtles racing to escape and get into the sea. And then it's like this battle charge to the shores, and there's like seagulls scooping them up, and then there's like crabs eating them, polar bears, all these obstacles in their way. A lot of the turtles don't make it, but that mama turtle, she lays so many eggs, so many turtles will march to the shore. What do they say? You can't kill us all. That's how they continue their lineage. Quantity trumps quality over time, every time. Over delivery. When you over deliver, even if you fall short, your falling short is still excellent. You trying to hit the gym 5 days a week, aim for 7. You trying to get really good at speaking at the mic, don't make 4 videos, don't make 5 videos a week, aim to make 7 videos a week. That way, if you miss one video, you make 6 videos a week. You have some in the vault. You want to be really good at producing and mixing, dedicate not 1 hour, not 2 hours, dedicate 3 hours a day studying music theory, studying notes. You start falling when you don't do anything because you aim too low.
Eating to live, yeah, I'm living to eat. Catch me enjoying vegan recipes. Fiend for chlorophyll.
Greetings, it's your boy Gartatia. Today I want to talk about the overwhelming power of over-delivering. What is over-delivery? The best way to illustrate over-delivery is going back to nature. I'm chilling at my favorite spot on a hill, just gazing at the nature, gazing at the scenery, gazing at the sky. And this tree comes to my attention, and I kind of start looking at the tree, and I see these little holes in it. It looks kind of trippy, and I'm just like, look at all these holes. Some of the leaves have holes in them, where some of them didn't. A lot of them had holes in it, but a lot of them didn't have holes in it. Some had a few holes, some were like peppered with holes, and others barely had any holes at all. But I looked at the holes, looked at the tree, looked at the branches, looked at the holes, looked at the tree, looked at the branches. And I was like, even though a lot of these leaves have holes in them, there were a lot of leaves that didn't have holes in them. And overall, the tree looked healthy. It was green, it was vibrant, new leaves were blooming. So I don't know what eats the leaves. I think they're weevils or some sort of pest that eats the leaves. However, I just noticed that the tree was not really affected by it, even though some of the leaves had been destroyed. So that's one observation I had. And I was looking at another thing in nature too. It got me thinking about like, yeah, a lot of times in nature, nature's not perfect, and nature knows nature's not perfect. So one thing I noticed is that the way that tree survived was just by having a lot of leaves. The only reason that tree was still alive and able to still get vitamin D from the sun and turn that into energy was because it had so many leaves that if a few leaves, if a few hundred leaves, if a few thousand leaves got destroyed by weevils, it's chilling because it literally has a million leaves. So the loss of the few doesn't deter the objective of the many. The tree over delivered, right? And it got me thinking about what other things in nature do we see. I always go to nature to kind of tie these bigger concepts together. And I was kind of going back into my National Geographic Animal Planet days, and we all can recall those stunning stories of that brave tortoise or turtle like laying a shit ton of eggs, and then like we see after they hatch, we've all seen the footage of like hundreds of turtles, baby little turtles, racing like to the sea to escape and get into the sea, because I think the turtle can't lay the eggs underwater. So we all seen the footage of like hundreds of turtles racing to the sea, and then it's like this battle charge to the shores, and there's like seagulls scooping them up, and then there's like crabs eating them, and there's like polar bears. I don't know about polar bears, but there's like all these obstacles in their way. A lot of the turtles don't make it. But how did the turtles evolve to survive as a species? That mama turtle lays so many eggs that if she lost a few turtles walking to the sea, it's sad, but her genealogy or her line is going to continue. Her genetic potential hasn't been ended because she lays so many eggs, so many turtles will march to the shore. What do they say? You can't kill us all. Right? So that's how they continue their lineage. Over delivery. Right? And what I'm seeing is I see a lot of friends. And on the contrast to this, there's a story of I have a friend, and we all know that friend who puts everything into one thing and they do a really good job of it. And then as a result, you rarely see them produce. They're constantly in the state of production, but you never see what they're making because they put so much time into it. And then when they do release the product, it is really usually awesome and incredible. However, that person is always underwhelmed and always kind of disappointed because the amount of time they put into it can never amount to the expectation they had. What do I mean by this? I have a friend, I'm not going to say his name, but you know who you are if you listen to this episode. He is a photographer. I know this guy. Great guy, good personality, really fun, amicable. He can be kind of intense sometimes. However, that plays out in his art. He does amazing art. Just I see his stuff. It looks like industry, pressure. And he knows this. The only thing with him is he is a perfectionist. He gets so caught up making sure everything is perfect, making sure he gets the lighting perfect, making sure he color grades perfect, making sure the flow, the storytelling is perfect, making sure even leading up to the caption, like when he's posting, he says the whole process takes like weeks. And that's why when you look at his profile on Instagram, his last post, I was checking it. I was like, let me see what he's been up to. His last post was like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. And even though each of his posts are like really good, they're so far and few between. They're so far and few between. Like he posts like the fastest is once every week or once every 2 weeks if you're lucky. And yes, you can grow if you're producing quality. And I never want to discourage people from producing quality content. However, I do believe there is a lot to learn from people who over deliver. A lot of times we focus so much on perfection, getting everything right. And then when things don't measure up to the last post we did, when things don't measure up to how good we think we could have done, when things don't measure up to that one negative comment who talked about how you could have raised the aperture on that shot or how that angle was off and you should have like shot the image at dusk, whoever the fuck. That one thing, right, will have you regretting the post, deleting the post. I know people who record hundreds of songs and never drop it. I also know people who record one song, not the best song, and then just release it and don't care. So we have different personality types, and I'm accounting for that. What I'm asking of people who are perfectionists, what I'm asking of people who like to get everything right. And me personally, I went through that phase where, I remember when I first started my music, like my first song, I put so much thought into it, thinking about every syllable, thinking about every single rhyme, where to put it, thinking about this beat dropping, just driving my producer crazy. Like, oh, I want you to do this 1,000 amount of takes, and I would just chop up, like do 87 fucking takes, and then it would drive my producer crazy instead of just doing one take and just getting that take as best as I could. Just trying to I call it trying to control what you can't control. The only thing you can control is what you're doing in the present moment. And in that present moment, I agree, you should do the best you can. What you can't control is how people are going to receive it. What you can't control is how you're going to feel after you release that art that you're releasing. Actually, you can't control that, but let's just be real. The average person can't really control if they're going to be offended or not based on their release. That's just, unless you are evolved AF and have done like a shit ton of work on yourself, let's be real. You can't kind of out of your control. Only thing you can control is, listen, people are either going to hate it or they're going to love it. So if they're either going to hate it or they're going to love it, am I really going to put this much time into like one thing and really care? Like if I am going to put this much time into one thing, I need to not really care what people say. And if that's the case, continue to do that. But if I'm somebody who's sensitive, if I'm somebody who's really sensitive to criticism, or I don't like people not liking my stuff, then I need to make more stuff. I need to over deliver because I need to make so much stuff that one thing that people didn't like, oh, I got another one. Oh, you didn't like that video? I got two more because I've been doing a video every day. You think that I'm not finna cover this topic that is relevant? Oh, guess what? I already recorded a video about that 2 weeks ago because I just been making a video every day. And I want to emphasize that people sleep on the value of repetition. People sleep on the value of just over delivering. Just focus on showing up rather than focusing on perfection. Right? There was a period where I was very shy on camera. This is about 2 months ago. I don't know if you noticed, I was doing like the Treehouse Unfiltered stuff. Oh man, I was so like not shy on camera, but I would freeze up. I would muddle my words. I would lose my train of thought. It was sloppy. It was messy. And I was so frustrated. It frustrated me so much because I thought that I would naturally be good at it because I wasn't naturally good at the podcast. But it would be weird. I would be so comfortable on the same camera, but when it's a podcast, like between me and a host, and that I thought that skill would carry over. Sometimes we think that a skill we have somewhere completely carries over, and as a result, we don't put effort into developing that skill because we think, oh, well, I do aerobics, so I should be good at gymnastics. Or we say, oh, I play rugby, so I should like be good at football. Or we say, oh, I'm really good at my ice cream shop, so a bakery should be easy. And it's like sometimes it's true, but sometimes there's a little overlap. Sometimes there's nowhere near as much overlap as you thought, and you just actually have to just practice that skill. That's what happened to me. I'm like, oh, I'm Mr. Podcast. I'm Mr. Comfortable speaking to all these guests, and I'm really cool and whatever. And I was like, nope, it's not the same. It's not the same because the podcast, it's mostly me listening and asking questions. And I'm realizing that's a completely different skill than just talking to the camera like this. There's no questions. It's just me and the camera, and it's just like my brain explosion. That's what you're getting. Just my brain blob. So that's the complete difference. But I thought it would carry over. So what were my first few videos? I would do like a billion takes. I would over edit them. If you look at my old videos, you would see like literally I'm like editing every 3 sentences because like I said something wrong or I said something stupid, just overthinking. And a lot of it is just people say, oh, you're born with the golden voice, or you're born confident talking to the camera, or you're born charismatic on screen. And all of that is the biggest lie. Literally every single thing that I'm good at now is only because I've done it so many times. Everything is about repetition is everything. Every skill, every athlete you see outperforming everybody. Every Billie Eilish, every Little Baby, every J. Cole, every Tyler the Creator, every great performer, they're only great because in their free time, every single day, they are practicing that thing. Every single mathematician, every single astrophysicist, they can speak so confidently about the stars and they can speak so confidently about Fibonacci sequences. Look at people at Veritasium. Look at Vsauce. He can speak so confidently about these vague concepts and not lose his composure because he's put in the work all of his life studying these things, researching these things, having conversations about science and math and the nature of the universe. Everything is a skill. Every person that you admire ever has learned. I'm not saying they didn't have maybe an IQ higher than average. I'm not saying they maybe didn't have an environment that helped them get there. What I'm trying to say that repetition trumped all of that. Environment, genetics, what trumps all of that is environment. A perfect example, not environment, repetition. Kobe Bryant is a perfect example. Wasn't the tallest basketball player, wasn't the most gifted dunker, wasn't the most talented anything. He just put in the work and he got good. He trained his 3-point shot. He trained his 2-point shots. He trained his defense. He did suicides. He trained his cardio. Everything was work for him. He saw everything as skill and habit, and that's why he was one of the greatest. Everything is about repetition. If you do something long enough, it becomes autopilot. So the brain doesn't have to think about it, so that it can think about the things that actually matter when you're playing the game. You want to have as many things on autopilot in your life as possible, so that your brain energy is being spent on the things that take whatever you're doing on autopilot to the next level. You want to be a great producer? Get so good at cutting, get so good at using vocoder, get so good at tuning that it's automatic. So then with the creative part of your brain, your right brain, you are thinking about, oh, patterns. You are thinking about, oh, this would sound really good right here. You're thinking about, oh, let's pitch that down and let's amplify that, because this is going to, you can't think creatively if you're thinking, am I doing this right? You can't go to the next level and shock the world with something never seen before if you're worrying about the basics. So you need to get the basics down to a science. You need to be so good at the natural, at the basics, that allows you to do what the pro stuff does. It's not accident. It's not luck. It's not, it fell into my lap. It's repetition. It's just repetition. And people are like, oh, easy for you to say repetition. Repetition is hard. No, repetition doesn't have to be fucking hard. Repetition can be easy. Actually, if you want it to become a habit, you should make it as easy as possible. And that's why I go back to over delivery. And before I even go deeper into it, I just want to explain this example. So there was this experiment done. There was this professor at some renowned university. I forgot the name of the professor. However, he did this genius experiment. Essentially, he was like a photography professor. And what he did was, at the first day of his class, he split the classroom into two groups. And he said, on this group A, all they have to do to get an A in my class is submit one picture by the end of the semester, and they get an A. But that picture has to be perfect. And he gives them like a blueprint, like what it should look like, things he's looking for, blah, blah, blah. That's the syllabus. All they had to do is submit one picture and they get an A in the class. No homework, no assignments, no group, nothing. Just one picture per person, get an A. And now group B was, they have to submit any picture. It could be a picture of their butthole. Any single picture, just 100 pictures a week. That's all they had to do. And those pictures would be graded though. But every week they just had to put in 100 pictures. And if they just put in 100 pictures every week, they would get an automatic A. It wasn't quality, it was just quantity. They just had to put in 100 pictures every week for whatever 30 something weeks a semester lasts. Or I don't know, probably 20. I don't know. But all they had to do was just do 100 pictures every week. So quantity, just not focusing on quality. And here's the interesting thing. At the end of the semester, the group who had to just get one perfect picture compared to the group who had to just do 100 pictures a week, the group who put so much time all semester theorizing, so much time all semester studying, probably reading all these books of photography, the group who spent get one semester perfect picture, talking to people, talking to photographers, how do I do the perfect picture, right? Compared to the group who just willy-nilly just took 100 pictures. Guess who had not only the better picture, guess who had 100 pictures that were better than that one picture from the group? By that last week, the group who had to take 100 pictures, each and every one of those 100 pictures were better than that one perfect picture that one of the people had to do in the group A. So what does that tell you? What that tells you is quantity trumps quality over time, every time. I'm gonna repeat this again. Quantity trumps quality over time, every time. When you understand how you work, you can then troubleshoot, and prevention is better than cure, so that, let me course correct and pivot, because I already know I'm this kind of person, so that you end up maybe not hitting the goal, but you still end up better than ever before. I was reading this book, Atomic Habits, and literally this quote blew my mind. And it's so true. It said, your worst day hurts more than your best day helps. Again, your worst day hurts more than your best day helps. What does that mean? That means that a day where you just say, I'm not going to do it, a day where you break your habit, a day where you don't deliver anything because either you deliver and the expectations weren't good, or either it's raining outside and it's like, no one else is going to the gym today. One day won't hurt. Guess what? That next day you're going to feel worse than versus that was the perfect day and the perfect workout is going to make you feel good. Right? So what does that mean? Life happens, accidents happen, people get sick. So many things happen to make you, like, no one is perfect. No one has a perfect streak. Something, if you've on NoFap or on semen retention, you could be day 357. Something's going to happen. You either have a wet dream, a fucking succubus will come into your life and then whoosh, suck your energy. You'll think you found your queen or something like that. And then, it turns out she just wanted to take your power away. I don't know, but the thing is, life will always find a way to throw you off course. What messes you up is not that one day that you're off course or that 2 days that you're off course. What messes you up is when you continue to stay off course. Right? So what did I do? I said I was going to go 5 days a week. I ended up going 3 days a week. So I got like, oh, okay. Something always happens where I end up missing 2 days. So let me not aim for 5 days. Let me aim to go every day. That way I'll end up actually going 6 or 5, which is still better than average. The expression, aim to the moon, or always aim for the stars, not the moon. And I never liked the expression, oh, aim to the moon, kid. I always like aim to the stars, because if you aim to the moon, you're probably not even going to land on the moon. But when you aim to the stars, you may not reach the star, but you'll at least reach the moon. You'll at least pass the moon. And that's the same concept of over-delivering. When you over-plan, over-deliver, even if you fall short, your falling short is still excellent compared to planning to meet that same goal and then falling short of that, and that's less, right? And that's what it's all about. It's about over-deliver in all aspects of life. You trying to hit the gym 5 days a week, aim for 7. You trying to get really good at speaking at the mic, don't make 4 videos a week. Don't make 5 videos a week. Aim to make 7 videos a week. That way, if you miss 1 video, you make 6 videos a week. You have some in the vault. You want to be really good at producing and mixing? Dedicate not 1 hour, not 2 hours, dedicate 3 hours a day to looking at studying other huge producers, studying theory, music theory, studying notes. Dedicate 3 hours a day to it. So that day, on your worst day, you at least did 2 hours, or at the very least you did 1 hour. You see, you want to be really good at rock climbing. Dedicate 5 or 6 days a week to rock climbing. That way, if something happens, you're doing at least 4 days or 3 days to rock climbing. The higher you aim, when you fall short, the worse the falling short is. But when you aim low, it's easy to not aim at all. And that's where you fall. You start falling when you don't do anything because you aim too low. And another thing is, don't strive for perfection. Maybe one of them days you didn't want to go to the gym, but you dragged yourself, you made it to the gym. Maybe you only could push yourself to do 1 push-up. Maybe you could only push yourself to run a 1/4 mile on the treadmill. Maybe you could only push yourself to do 1 set of bench. But guess what? In your head, you're going to go home. You're not going to feel the best, but you're going to go home and say, I'm somebody who didn't miss a workout though. I still didn't miss the workout, right? You have something to be proud of. Over delivery. Don't sleep on over delivery. Don't sleep on repetition. That's what makes you great. That's what, like meditation. So literally some days I only meditate, and I'm embarrassed saying this. Some days I only meditate for like 3 to 4 minutes. And that's okay. I can literally count on one hand how many times I've done no meditation at all within the past 16 months. It's all repetition. 3 minutes, 2 minutes, even a 1 minute meditation. The whole point is you showed up. You showed up. And life awards people who show up. So don't worry about being excellent. Don't worry about being perfect. If you show up continuously, you'll be the closest person to perfect. You'll be more perfect than the person who strives to be perfect when you show up consistently. And showing up consistently doesn't mean perfectly showing up. Aim to perfectly show up. That way, when you miss a day or two, it's water off your back. Right? I hope this video helped just really drill into your minds the importance of repetition and showing up every day. And just over deliver. Everything you do, just add more, do more. You're scared to talk to people, you're scared to go outside, right? Promise yourself to go outside every single day. Right? That way you're going out maybe 5 or 6. That's still great. You're getting your body's getting fresh oxygen and good sunlight at least 5, 6 days a week. You're better than most people. You're socially awkward. You're scared to talk to people. Promise to talk to somebody when you go to the store every single day. You go to Whole Foods. Make a promise to yourself to talk to the cashier. Make a promise to yourself to ask a question like, "Oh, I can't find the cabbages." Those people are really kind to talk to you because that's their job. Start off with that. Right? That way, you've been talking to these cashiers. You've been talking to, the people at the help desk. You've been talking to these people at the entrance welcoming you in. And you've done that every day. Now, you might be able to cold approach. Now you're at a party and you can hold a conversation because you showed up every single day. It's just the showing up. It's the getting on autopilot. It's the making it a habit. So find out what's important to you. Find out something that you're trying to be great at. Find out something that is something you need to do your passion or to give your gift or to give your service to the best of your ability. And find out the fundamentals that you need to be good at and do those fundamentals as often as possible. Don't worry about perfection. Don't worry about anything. I was shit at editing. It took me so long to edit a video, a 1 minute. It took me like an hour to edit a 1 minute video. What did I do? I started a day in the life 146 days ago. Now, people hitting me up, "Bro, that was an amazing edit you did. It's an honor for me being your video." I've gotten so fucking good at it. I can do it in like 20 minutes, 30 minutes max. Same quality. It used to take me an hour and a half. Because I did it every day. I said, I'm going to get better at editing. I'm going to be the best I can be at editing because I'm going to need editing at this new phase of my life, which is I'm doing these new treehouse shows. I got to be good at editing. I need to make editing instinct because I need to be creative, and I can't be creative if I'm focusing on the basics. Right? It's about repetition. It's about doing it every day. And if you do it every day long enough, it won't even feel like you're doing it anymore. And then you'll be successful enough so that you don't have to do it anymore. And then you can really do what you want to do. But until then, you got to do what you need to do as often as you can do it. I hope this helped. As always, stay hydrated, stay breathing in that good oxygen, and most importantly, stay basic. I love you.